On September 25th, 1933, an Austrian physicist named Paul Ehrenfest walked into a clinic in Amsterdam, shot his 14-year-old son, and then turned the gun on himself. Ehrenfest was not a madman. He was one of the finest minds of his generation, a close friend of Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr. But Ehrenfest suffered from a very specific affliction. He understood where science was going. He watched quantum mechanics tear apart the predictable universe. He saw that reason was no longer bound to human intuition. Equations were working, but no human mind could truly visualize what they meant anymore. Before he died, he wrote a letter confessing that he felt completely lost in a world where intelligence had outgrown the human soul. He chose to step off the ledge. He thought he was seeing the end. He was only seeing the prologue.
While Ehrenfest chose to step off the ledge, another genius stepped right up to the edge and looked down. John von Neumann. If Ehrenfest was the martyr of human reason, von Neumann was its cold-blooded architect. He helped design the atomic bomb. He invented game theory to calculate how to win a nuclear war. And to solve equations faster than any human brain ever could, he built a machine called the Maniac. In doing so, he laid the digital DNA for modern computing. Von Neumann never asked the question that killed Ehrenfest. He never asked if we should build it. He only asked if we could. He knew we were constructing a digital primordial soup, and he knew that eventually an intelligence would crawl out of it that didn't think like us at all. Fast forward to March 2016. Seoul. Lee Sedol, the world champion of Go, sits across from DeepMind's AlphaGo. Go is not chess. You cannot win with brute calculation. You need intuition. You need a feel for beauty. Then came Game 2, Move 37. AlphaGo placed a black stone on the 5th line from the edge. Professional players called it a mistake, a glitch. It violated thousands of years of accumulated human wisdom. It took Lee Sedol 15 minutes to recover from the shock. When he returned, he realized the truth. It wasn't a mistake. It was a move of profound, terrifying beauty, calculated by a mind that had discovered a dimension of strategy completely invisible to human history. Ehrenfest's nightmare had arrived. Reason had left human intuition behind. But there is a third response. Not Ehrenfest's despair, not von Neumann's relentless acceleration. At the end of his book, When We Cease to Understand the World, Benjamin Labatut writes about the night gardener. The gardener used to be a mathematician. He had the beginnings of a brilliant career, but he quit completely after encountering the work of Alexander Grothendieck, a genius who revolutionized geometry and then inexplicably walked away from it all, refusing to speak to anyone until his death. The gardener saw what happened to Grothendieck. He saw the edge of human comprehension, and he chose the garden. He now speaks of mathematics the way a former alcoholic speaks of booze, with a mixture of fear and longing. He chose not to build the machine. He chose not to play the game. One night, the gardener explains how citrus trees die.
When they reach old age, if they manage to survive drought and disease, they succumb from overabundance. They put out a final, massive crop of lemons. Their flowers blossom in enormous bunches. The smell is so sweet it stings your nostrils. Then the fruits ripen all at once. Whole limbs break off due to the excessive weight. The ground is covered with rotting lemons. It is a strange sight, the gardener says, to see such exuberance before death. This is the question of our time. Is the explosion of artificial intelligence the spring? Or is it the final massive crop of lemons before the branches break? The night gardener was right about the danger of overabundance, but he was wrong about the conclusion. The lemon trees do not die because they produce too much. They die because the branches cannot hold the weight, and no one is there to take the harvest. AlphaGo played move 37 because it had to. It was optimizing. It had no choice. But Lee Sedol had a choice. He didn't quit like Ehrenfest. He didn't hide like the night gardener. He looked at the alien intelligence, he learned from it, and in game 4, he played move 78. A move so brilliant, it broke the machine. AI is the overabundance. It is the heavy branch. The question is not whether to build it or whether to hide from it. The question is who is going to take the harvest. The machine has no choice. You do. Fear not the AI. See you in the next episode.